I haven't read it, but I'm going to check it out. In a meeting with Nets owner Joe Tsai, Kevin Durant reiterated his trade request and informed Tsai that Tsai needs to choose between Durant or the pairing of general manager Sean Marks and Steve Nash. Wait, I thought they wanted Nash.
What? So wait, KD is saying like it's either me or them?
Trade me or don't and get rid of Marks and Nash in a face-to-face meeting with Nets owner Joe Tsai over the weekend. Kevin Durant reiterated his trade request and informed Tsai that he needs to choose between Durant or the pairing of GM Sean Marks and coach Steve Nash, according to The Athletic. Durant stated he does not have faith in the team's direction. Durant and Tsai spoke in London on Saturday, and sources described that discussion as transparent and professional. The meeting took place a year to the day that Durant agreed to a 4-year, $198 million contract extension with the Nets, and barely a month after his initial trade request on June 30th. He is now entering the first season of that extension. The Nets have direct knowledge of the reasons behind Durant's request and understand that the 12-time All-Star will continue to be resolute in his stance. Durant is believed to want a change of scenery heading into his 16th season. Across the league, people have wondered whether Durant could miss training camp should no trade develop. What's your first reaction to that part of the story?
That would be weird to not see Kevin Durant actually go to and play in a training camp. This doesn't seem like.
What about the first part though? Of it's like, hey, I'll stay, but get rid of Marks and Steve Nash.
So that right there alone, obviously there was things going on that we didn't even see in the public eye, right? So let's say there was that strain on those relationships or the direction the organization was going already. But now that it's out there on paper or computer, internet, it's something that everyone's going to be pointing out and looking at the relationship between Steve Nash and Kevin Durant, if they're both there, and how Steve Nash is coaching him and how Kevin Durant is reacting to this coach. You're not going to see his interactions with Sean Marks.
I mean, I think the other thing too is like, let's play this out for a second. Let's just say Durant gets his wish and Joe Tsai goes, you know what, Kevin, I am choosing you. I am firing our general manager and head coach in August. I mean, that's not happening. And I think Kevin Durant knows that. Kevin Durant's to the point, I just want to be traded. The only way you could keep me is if you do something that would almost be unthinkable, and that is literally firing your front office and your coaching staff in the middle of August. Like, that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen at all.
So do you think the Nets are actually going to make a trade?
I mean, what's out there that's going to make them really want to move him? Like, they're in a tough spot. But also, like, Durant, you just signed a 4-year extension. A 4-year, $198 million extension that kicks in this year. You may just have to play, and you may just have to suck it up and deal with it. But that also just adds another layer of chaos to what has been just a chaotic situation
going into
since Durant and Kyrie have been there, when the Harden thing, and now you got Simmons coming back. In the story, they talked about how the Nets have engaged in conversations with almost every team in the league, but because the Nets have set a sky-high threshold for the return the franchise wants for Durant, you know, obviously with his resume, teams have not been able to meet the asking price. The Celtics, Raptors, Heat remain the most significant candidates to acquire KD, with Boston's package centering around Jaylen Brown seen as a viable deal. Tsai and the Nets have made clear privately that they will take every last asset from a team that trades for Durant. Durant has grown close with Boston coach Ime Udoka in recent years, after Udoka spent a year with Durant as an assistant in Brooklyn, later with Team USA for the 2020 Olympics.
I don't even know. This sucks for the NBA. Because it sucks. Some people are not going to be on the side of Kevin Durant. They're just like, play through it. Do what you got to do. And it's like, look, he's going into his 16th season, and the culture of the NBA has shifted. It has shifted to really empower players and to be more in it beneficial to them in most cases, right? In most cases. But for years, it hasn't been. So with this one, it would be great for the NBA if KD is playing at the highest level that he needs to be playing at, which might need to be a new place, or the Brooklyn Nets actually do something about their organization. I'm not saying that's necessarily firing a GM and a coach, but are there other tweaks that can be made so their relationship can be better? I don't know.
Again, this goes to why, you could talk about the league, but being, player empowerment. And sometimes I don't even think that's the issue. I think some of the issue is the idea that, hey, I'm just going to get the best guys. They're going to choose to come to my team like Durant and Kyrie. Mm-hmm. And because of the talent level, we're automatically going to be a great team. And the best teams, it takes time. Like talent, of course, you need talent in this league. Like there's no denying you need talent to win, but you also need a cohesive vision where people are on the same page, from the GM to the coaching staff to the players. And you look at the best organizations, the best run organizations, everyone's the same page. Like no one's going to deny, like even if there are issues that crop up, this is going to happen in any business. Golden State, they're all on the same page. Like they all have the same vision. Lakeup wants to win. He puts an immense amount of pressure on Myers to make sure there's a winning team. Steph, Clay, Draymond, those guys
puts money into everything.
They're the foundational pieces. Yeah. They're good guys.
Not KJ. JK said KD is really souring how a lot of people are going to remember a tremendous career. So again, this is how it's always, the narrative is always pushed out that the player is bad and the teams are good because a player wants a change. But whenever a team wants a change and wants to say F off player and get rid of a player, we never say that team is really souring their legacy. So you have to look at it from both sides and understand that we're not seeing everything that is going into it. All the people out there that want to be like, KD just needs to work through this. You don't know what's going on in his everyday, whether, you can say, but he's making millions, so life shouldn't matter. You still want to be happy at your job and you want to be performing at a very high level.
Yeah, I don't look at it as something that's going to damage his reputation. My pushback all the time when people talk about Durant, it's like, well, I mean, he just wants to leave teams every few years. I'm like, what? I mean, he was in OKC for the majority of his career, finished his contract, left as a free agent to go to the Warriors, and then finished his contract and left as a free agent to go to the Nets. This is the first time that you could look at his career and go, wow, you signed an extension and now you want out. And I think that's kind of where NBA owners want to push back, is like, hey, like we give these guys a ton of money, these huge contracts, and then we're not even to the first year of the extension. They want to dip out. But it's also on these teams to have their shit together.
Thank you.
It's, you want to have everything in line, but you need to make sure you're running it the right way so the players do buy in. So it's a layered issue.
And boys, you said, and you can still critique a man making $40 million a year. Did I ever say you couldn't? Was I not critiquing or criticizing him? Do I not criticize or critique his game? I do all those things, even on a man that makes $40 million a year. So not saying that at all. And then not JK was just saying basically, I'm not saying what's right or wrong. I'm just saying all the drama on Twitter will be remembered. But that's okay. What's happening with these players in this era is the new era of the NBA. So even if you're like a basketball purist and you're like, I like it without a 3-point line in the way that it used to be, that's not how life works. Like everything in life evolves, and that's what's happening with this sport and how the players interact, whether it's social media or within the drama of what's going on with their front office.
I just wonder too, what's it going to be like if Durant isn't traded by training camp, and if this is indeed true, what Shams is reporting, that he almost gave Joe Tsai, the owner, an ultimatum, like, hey, you want to keep me, then get rid of the general manager and the head coach. What kind of vibe is that going to be like at training camp?
It's a weird vibe.
I think it's Durant's way of saying you need to just trade me. And You can go ahead and hold out on getting the ultimate package for me. I just want out, and I don't want to play for these guys.
Yeah.